Hmm? Ah!
You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode is our first official Oscar season episode of the 2026 season. As we were talking about the survivor
Rear-wheel drive.
Yep. As we are talking about the survival drama film The Lost Bus, directed by Paul Greengrass and released on Apple TV Plus October 3rd, 2025.
Yes, it is that time of year again, and this and the following 3 movies that we are covering on this podcast received at least one Oscar nomination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is nominated this year for Best Visual Effects.
Yes, I think that was apparent when you watched this movie. My God, there was a lot of insane fire. I found myself so pulled into what was going on and just trying to imagine what it must have been like for people who were running for their lives, trying to survive in this environment, because it's based on a true story.
Yeah. This one was not even really on my radar at all until, Oscars, and then it being nominated and being like, I didn't even know what that was, but I'm going to watch it because of Oscars. So yeah, we'll cover it here. I look into it. And yeah, I really enjoyed what it was. Like, at least, for what it is, visual effects. So I'm also really watching that through that lens because I've got my own Oscar thing as I'm doing as well. So I'm really paying attention to that. But I did enjoy the story. I definitely was attached to a lot of it and definitely was interesting. There are a few things that I could complain about, or some little story things or whatever, but I think it was a great kind of disaster film, pulled on the heartstrings in the right places, had a great cast, and I think was really well done, and I'm glad that it got a nomination this year for us, because this one probably just would have flown right under our radar forever.
I hadn't even heard of it until you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were 5 or 6 movies that we could consider to cover. And I really didn't think that we were going to have that many. Yeah. Otherwise, we might have rearranged things a couple of episodes prior just to try to fit them all in. But this one, I was really interested in just for the fact that we've been covering a lot of more horror genre type films, and I was excited to go back to the disaster realm a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is one I know when I posted on Facebook several weeks ago about, which Oscar movies should we cover? And then when we talked about it in previous episodes, this one wasn't even one that I mentioned because I hadn't even realized at that point. I had the list of movies to watch, but I hadn't looked into all of them. So then looking into this and being like, oh dang, this also fits. And then I really wanted us to cover this one just to give it a little bit of
love
spotlight.
Yeah. Sometimes we will do that. We'll find a movie that maybe isn't getting a lot of attention or enough love, or the amount of love it deserves. And so we'll try to, shine a spotlight on it to amplify it a little bit so that people will pay attention.
I'm wondering, should we go ahead and give people the Oscars lineup, or?
I don't know.
Care to have them wait? I don't know. But that way, I guess so you don't have to worry about, which ones they're doing, because I know you mentioned we're not going to fit all of them in.
No, we're not.
So maybe I will kind of give it an idea. Maybe not exactly in order. It might be. You sent it to me. But I'll say the ones that we're not going to get around to for Oscars season right here, the end of this season of Run for Your Lives as well. And we might come back around to them. I don't know. I've seen both of them. I don't think we're going to get to Begonia. I don't want to get too into specifics why. I think it could fit or it also couldn't. It really depends on how you want to look at things. And I also just don't want to... I feel like including it could be a spoiler, but also saying that could be a spoiler, so I don't know. But yeah, don't worry about that. It is a great one. Definitely check it out. And then I think the other one is The Ugly Stepsister. I know we've had one listener who was interested in our take on that. We might still do it. It's very body horror, and those of you listening for a while know that's the one that like makes me squirm the most. I did enjoy it a lot. I did watch it. I'm going to watch it anyway for Oscars, so I have already seen it, and I did really enjoy it. But again, like on the Run for Your Lives thing, it's like, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's
more horror. It's not really the running part.
Yeah, it's definitely visceral and gory, but it's not, a killer or a monster movie or disaster movie kind of thing. So I don't know, but it is fun. Definitely check it out. We might still cover it, but I know for the remainder of this season, we're starting here with The Lost Bus, and then the rest of the season until our awards episode will be Oscar-nominated movies. So I think we're doing Jurassic World Rebirth next. And then I know we're wrapping it up with Frankenstein. Was there anything else?
We are bringing another kids-friendly episode.
How did I forget about that one, too? We will have, the animated kid-friendly one as well. K-Pop Demon Hunters will be in this lineup for Oscar movies as well.
Yeah, we had a few folks reach out to us about that one. I've not watched it yet, but my nieces are big fans. And you can't get away from the music because it's everywhere, especially Golden. Oh, yeah. It's just everywhere. So...
Yeah, one of the kids that I do the mentorship stuff with was excited about that when I told him. I was like, yeah, we're going to do K-Pop Demon Hunters. He loves that one. And then, because what it came out, because he brought up Sketch to me today randomly. And he was like, have you heard about this movie? And I was like, have I heard about... Okay, let's...
Such a good one. Such a good one. I loved covering that movie.
Let me tell you about that. Yeah. So that was fun. But
such a great discussion.
Yeah, so we haven't had like a kid-friendly episode in a little while, so we will do that. This one, however, will not be, but
no,
it's coming soon.
This one is more about traumatizing children on a bus.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. I knew what this was about because I remember that fire, but my goodness, it was a lot. I felt like pulled into the bus with everyone else, and it was really scary,
Yeah. I will say what definitely is as much as there may be some story things or kind of like little like plot holes that I'm like, well, they could have explained this better. Like, well, how did this happen? Why did this happen at this time? I think a lot of that is overshadowed by the fact that what this movie did very, very well was the tension, the intensity, putting you into the middle of the chaos and having you really feel that a lot in those scenes and having that intensity really palpable. And then, of course, what it was nominated for was the visual effects, because I figured even early on when I started, I was like, okay, this is up for visual effects, and knowing what this movie is, those effects are most likely going to be almost all fire. Like, there's also, some CGI stuff that they put in with the bus and certain, like, action scenes and things. Was like, a lot of it's going to be the fire and how they handle the fire. Fire, and I don't know the, like, specific, like, actual how true this is, but as somebody who's watched a ton of these movies.
Oh, yeah.
Through, like, a podcast lens, especially now, and really, like, picking apart and, like, paying a lot of attention to finer details. What I've noticed, I think, as fire has proven to be one of the hardest things for movies to pull off convincingly through CGI. Because I think whenever I'm giving a movie a hard time about the CGI, it's because the fire and explosions look terrible.
Yeah, I didn't get that feeling in this one.
Yeah. So then I was just like, okay, if this is a fire movie and it's up for best visual effects, they must have nailed it. So I'm interested to see how they earned that nomination.
Well, to tell you the truth, Peg, when I tell you that Industrial Light and Magic was involved, then, I mean, that answers the question. Yeah. So I had to go, because it's about visual effects, I had to go and dig into it a little bit. And of course, primarily, those effects were produced by ILM, which is one of the best companies out there. They worked with a couple of other companies on it, smaller ones, Cinesight, which has come up before, Outpost VFX, Below FX, and Rise. And, I mean, I thought things were very intense, and you're right about the tension. They made it so that I did not look too much into this because I didn't want to know every single thing that happened. I kind of wanted to have a blank slate going into it. The only things I really knew about it is that there were 2 teachers on the bus, not just one, and one of the teachers did not want to be involved in this movie. Yeah. And so she declined to be part of it. There is a book, and this story is one chapter in that book. Mm-hmm. And the book is called Paradise. It was released in 2021, written by Lizzie Johnson. It is on Spotify, so I'm actually, after we get through this, I'm going to go listen to the book because I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, so I assume you said this is one chapter, so it's probably a lot of compiled different stories of people's struggles and things that happened during this campfire.
Yeah. And the campfire, they named it Campfire. The reason they named it that is because it started near the Camp Creek Road. And so that's why it was called the Campfire. But there were some different things I found out about it. Like Jamie Lee Curtis was a producer on this movie. Mm-hmm. America Ferrera and Matthew McConaughey actually got to talk to or sit down and ask questions of Mary and Kevin, the real people behind this, so that they would be able to have that connection and understanding of what the role is. Yeah. Levi McConaughey played Sean McKay in the movie. And all I could think when I'm looking at it is he looks like his mom. Like, he really looks like his mom a lot. Camila Alves.
Yeah, it was a real family affair. 3 generations of McConaughey, because Sean was played by Levi, Matthew McConaughey's son, and then Sherry, Kevin's mother, was played by Kay McConaughey, which is Matthew McConaughey's mother. His actual mother and son played his mother and son in the movie, which is fun.
It's so cool to, though, have that experience. Like, their roles were not nearly, they were just a fraction of what Matthew McConaughey's role was. But to have that experience of working on a movie together, even if the roles were small, I mean, that's got to be something that you'll remember forever. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. I was looking into Paul Greengrass a little bit because I was wondering, has he ever directed anything else that I've seen? Well, he directed Captain Phillips, directed United 93, which I've seen both of those, plus 3 films in, like, the Bourne Identity franchise. Okay. But he also directed this movie called 22 July, which is a story, I think it's in Norwegian, and it's about the 2011 domestic terrorist attacks in Oslo and Utoya, Norway. And that film in itself is impeccably well done. It's on Netflix. I think it's still there. So I'm interested, I feel like in many ways, Peg, I have already shared most of my production notes because we've been talking about it. So here are a couple of other things, not much. Was filmed in Ruidoso, Santa Fe, Española, Truches, and Glorieta, New Mexico. Paul Greengrass co-wrote the screenplay with Brad Inglesby. It had a very limited theatrical release prior to being released on Apple TV.
It's part of the what's needed for Oscar nominations is it does have to have some form of theater run.
Well, there's no box office info. There's no budget information. There's nothing. It was 130 minutes long. Pake, bring us that synopsis.
All right. A wayward school bus driver and a dedicated school teacher battle to save 22 children from a terrifying inferno.
Yes, not the towering inferno, a terrifying inferno.
Exactly.
So I do have some notes on differences, like real life versus what happened in the movie, but I'm not going to say them now. I'm just going to wait until the end because I think it's better for us to have the conversation. And honestly, some of it might come up in our conversation about the movie, so I really don't need to elaborate on that.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I had any other like little like random production stuff because I had this stuff about like Matthew McConaughey's family being there with him. The other thing, because you mentioned the filming, sad piece of trivia to this that kind of, I mean, ironic's not the greatest word to use, but as you said, this was filmed in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and 2 months after filming this movie, that town was destroyed and ravaged by a wildfire itself.
It's so horrible. Like, when I was going through and reading stuff, that was something that came up. It's in my notes. It goes back to you that, like, things that Mary said throughout the movie about, I never did this, and I never did this, and I've never left paradise, I've only been away twice, and it just made me keep thinking it's so important to say yes to yourself and do things because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You got to have experiences. You got to live because there's no guarantees. So keep living and just experiencing things. It's so important to do that.
So yeah, we will go through this one. Again, we find ourselves doing this more often lately. But as far as like, we're going to break them down because, we do a lot of, by characters. And I don't know, the podcast always evolves. And I'm not saying that this is the only way we're going to do things from now on. We're done with that by character analysis. But with a lot of movies, we've found that when they are focused more on just like one character or one set of characters that are together for most of the movie, it's easier just to roll chronologically, not recapping the movie for you, but just kind of in the order that I've taken notes, just kind of going through as things happen. Because it's like, well, we do by character. We're going to start with Kevin and then do the whole thing. And then there's going to be just a couple of random notes out of order of other things and it's like, at that point, we might as well just kind of go with the flow as we do.
Yeah. I think we're really just going to take it movie by movie and see what happens. I don't know. Maybe the style of movie making is just shifting to something different. And, or maybe we're just picking movies that are like that and different and not more, character breakdown situations. Yeah. So I think we just, we wing it. We always have on this podcast. I remember when we first started, we did things very differently. We had all these segments and sections and different things that we were doing. And then, after a season, we were kind of like, you know what? I think it's evolving into something else. So let's just let it be what it wants to be. Because then it's even more fun and we're not like getting stuck in like some format world. It can just be fluid and be what it wants to be. And we're still character driven because Kevin is a big part of this movie in so many ways as like the lead character, but a lot of his time is with the secondary character. So it makes no sense to split it up into different things. Yeah. And then come to the end and say, oh yeah, and Mary has a son. Like
there's also that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's so much.
There's a lot of like her great stuff is also just like tied in with her relationship and conversations with Kevin that might as well run through it. So yeah, we'll kick it off. I think, so we meet Kevin McKay, played by Matthew McConaughey. Apparently, this school bus driver here in Paradise, California. He's only been here. He moved back for What? You're looking at me?
He wasn't there that long. Like, he hasn't been there that long. He came back when his dad passed away. And in real life, he hadn't been a bus driver very long.
Yeah, like this is a newer thing for him. He seems to be very well liked by the kids on his route. Decent at his job. I think it's funny to see. I think, the character of Ruby, his boss there at it's a bus barn here in Texas, what we've always kind of called it. But the base where they're running everything, he's good at his job as far as driving a bus and getting kids to and from school. But it's the other parts of the job, the time management and upkeep and maintenance and things that she's constantly having to be on him
his
about,
time
remind
sheets.
him about. Yeah.
Just basic stuff like timesheets. Yeah, he actually left a job. He had been working for Walgreens for quite some time. It was a very stable, well-paying job. And he decided he wanted to do something more. And so he decided to be a bus driver to save, because he wanted to save money so that he could go to school. He wanted to go back to school and be a teacher. Mm-hmm. And that made sense to me as we got to different parts in the movie, because I didn't know that when I was watching the movie, and I have notes about things that we'll get to.
We'll talk about it, because the character definitely goes on an arc. I was like, oh, he's a bus driver, and it's like, there's a point where I was like, I'm so glad he has Mary on there, because his skills with kids are not.
Yeah.
I mean, they do seem to like him, but when it's really important, it's like, I don't know. But then we see him definitely warming up and okay, no, by the end, you're like, no, it makes perfect sense that then he went on to actually become a teacher.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
I'm like, oh, he should do that. And then I read that he went on to become a teacher, and I'm like, what? This is great, because that's what I was thinking, given his, the way that he was with Toby in particular.
Oh, God, I loved that. I loved it so much. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. We will.
Yeah, so as you say, he's new at this job, and he's really trying hard to make money. He's really pushing for these overtime shifts, which for people who are wondering, he's like, how do you get overtime as a bus driver? You pick kids up and you take them to school. It's field trips away, sports games, you cover routes for other drivers, all kinds of things like that. But the way that they hand those out is seniority based, and so he's so new. It's just he's never on the docket for overtime, and it's driving him crazy a little bit because he's divorced. So his son is 15. I don't know what the situation, if he's paying anything, because his son is living with him, but there's he's kind of single parenting in a way right now. He's also handling a lot of medical expenses that are still backlogged from dealing with his dad who passed away, and then I think even his mom might have some health issues as well. Also for his dog that has just passed away, that he's had all these medical bills, vet bills and stuff for. He can use the money, and he's struggling here a little bit.
I felt really bad for him because I felt like he was just constantly being pummeled by people who weren't going to budge on anything. They were being very hard on him or very strict with him. And I wondered, oh, okay. So his behavior might have led to this or led to them being this way. But my God, the guy can't catch a break ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His dog, you can tell how much he loved that dog. He gets home, he picks him up and carries him in the house and sits with him, and he knows he's going to have to say goodbye to Ellis, his dog. You know that it's going to happen. You know he's going to be gutted about it. He's so upset, but then his mom really needs his attention, and his son doesn't want to be like him, and they don't seem to get along very well.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best relationship between him and Sean, his son. And we learn more as the movie goes on, just especially those conversations with Mary that we'll talk about, that their relationship is very contentious, and it comes from he wants his son to do better than he did, and the way his son reacts to that is just very tough on him. And it's a mirror of looking at his life. It's the past repeating itself, and things happening where we learn that him and his father did not have a good relationship. They fought and argued and worse, through his childhood. And so when he was 16, which is a year away from where Sean is now, it finally all just blew up, and he walked out and never saw or spoke to his father again until he died.
Yeah.
And so he wants to do better for Sean, but a lot of those things that, genetically or just like what was learned from his father, that he repeats those cycles a little bit. And so there's a lot of, his son looking at him as a role model, like, well, you're somebody who got somebody pregnant when you were young, dropped out of high school. And what have you done for yourself? Because you're constantly struggling and failing. So, who are you to tell me that I should do better whenever I have you to look at and all the mistakes you've made? Which, maybe not fair, but kids can be that way.
Yep. They do have a tendency to bring the mirror up and hold it in front of you and give you their narrative of what is going on with you. Like, what's wrong and how you probably suck to them. Like, they don't mean it in the way you think. It's just, it's kids, it's hormones, it's how they are. Like, it's just how it is. Even the sweetest kids can say something that guts you. So you can't take it as personally as I know I do when my 11-year-old niece says something to me that hurts me. So it's just what happens. Sometimes they say things and they don't mean it in the way you think, or maybe they do, and I don't know. It just hurts.
Yeah. So he's trying to focus on this route. And so the day that the fire really happens, because it all is just like in a span of, honestly, just several hours, just this one day. But feels like a lot longer. It feels like an eternity. There's a lot going on. But with this day, he's got this maintenance that he keeps holding, backing off on. And so finally, like, he's got to pick up the kids, take them to school, get back to the base where the buses are kept there, so that he can have several hours to do maintenance in time to go back and pick the kids up from school. Of course, while he's out, he's trying to juggle all of these things going on. He's not great at time management with this job, and so he didn't refuel the bus when he was supposed to, so he's got to buy extra time to go fill up. And then he's also dealing with this argument with his son where he's, accused his son of lying about being sick so he can get out of school, because that's something he would have done, I'm sure, to find out that his son actually is sick, and he's feeling bad about that, so he's taking time out of his work day to make extra runs to a pharmacy and go pick up medicine. And then he's so worried about his kid that he's just like, he's ready to throw everything away. He's like, well, I'm already being yelled at, so what if I just don't show up for maintenance and I go check on my son, because he's just worried and there's a lot of anxiety, and he's juggling all of this. He has multiple
competing high priority requests, and it's too much trying to compartmentalize and organize and think about what can I do now, and then people are just talking at you, and his mom is calling him, and then later we get his ex-wife, who obviously still cares about him. I think she does. I think their divorce was hard for both of them to deal with.
Yeah.
I think there still was probably a lot of love there, and things just didn't work anymore. And sometimes letting go of that can be really painful for everybody.
Yeah. But he's just like facing this bombardment of like all the things he's doing wrong. Whether, again, from his mom being like, well, Sean is sick, but he doesn't want to talk to you. He says he's mad at you and you need to do this. To, as you said, with the ex-wife of being like, well, here's what went wrong. Here's why Sean doesn't feel this way about this. Here's why he's better. Here's how you're ruining my weekend. Yeah. And then also getting calls in from his boss, from Ruby at the bus barn. I'm just going to keep calling it that because that's what I'm used to here.
The bus barn just makes me think of Dress Barn, which was a clothes shop. Like, it just seems crazy to me. Like, I don't know.
But, and her constantly being like, you're late, you need to show up. What are you doing? You don't have time for this. You should have already done that. You don't have time for this. Even to the point of being like, if you can't handle this, then you might need to look for another job. Like, she's very just on him. And it's all of that coming at him at the same time from different angles. Yeah, he's definitely, you see him just like very stressed. And then him watching, it's a very windy day, and him watching the smoke from this fire that has started in the distance, and him seeing that it's getting closer and closer, and not when he is worried about it. Nobody has time to, well, I'm a little worried about this. Well, we don't have time for that right now. It's fine. Do this. Yep. And it's just all kind of building on him.
Well, I think, too, he's probably thinking what really matters in all of this is that I thought my son was just skipping out, and he wasn't. And I've been a shit about it, and I need to go and fix it. And that is something I have to prioritize as important in my life. I need to go fix this with my son. I need to take the medicine there. I need to make sure he's okay. And then I'll deal with the other pieces of my life that are falling apart. Because it seemed like the fire was almost a metaphor to everything that was going on with him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was all burning down. It was blowing up and burning down around him. And I felt for him. I felt like he couldn't do anything right. Like no one would even cut him any slack whatsoever.
And then, the winds are brutal, picking things up way faster. And then that's where we get the other side of stuff. So if we would have broken it down by characters, I think, Chief Martinez and just the firefighters and stuff and the fire department are all kind of their own character, and they have their own side plot and things going on. As we see them just like scrambling to deal with stuff, because even the fire that first starts with the power, lines, isn't a really tough spot for them to get to and handle easily. So they're already like, it's an uphill battle. And then that wind is just carrying embers and creating spot fires and new problems in a wider area.
Yeah.
That they expected very quickly. And it's just becoming a very major issue fast. And they don't have the resources immediately to deal with it until it gets out of hand. So even with them, like the movie was doing a great job of tension in the chaos, where you're thrown right in with the firefighters scrambling to figure things out and make progress. As even just with them, you're like, what are they going to do?
And they just keep trying. Like, I think it showcased how, as a firefighter, you have to look at what you're given. And then if it doesn't work, you have to try again. Like, you constantly have to shift and pivot to, how can I get there? We're not able to get there this way. And they just couldn't. They could not get there. There was no road. I mean, the road isn't paved saying, hello, let's go and put out a fire over here if it ever starts. Like, the location of the start of this fire was basically out by a tower. And it just escalated. Like you said, the wind was so severe that it just kept popping up. I mean, it was little fires everywhere.
And that was, I think, where I really noticed, like, the visual effects team crushing it, is we get my favorite side character of this movie, although we never get any follow-up, and I am a little disappointed about that. That's my biggest gripe with the movie. Oh my gosh,
I bet it's mine too.
Is this character named Elliot. We don't get his name in the movie, but that is his credit. As he's a younger guy who's a fireman who was just going out to, like, check stuff out. He's just, like, in a fire department truck, not an engine. He can't do anything. But he's the one that, like, calls in. He notices these spot fires, and he's driving through embers and smoke. And that's where, as he's driving through that, I'm just like, okay, this is where visual effects is really killing it. But he's driving through Concow, and he's the one that is able to let them know, this place is on fire. Like, it's not just an inevitability. This thing has progressed way faster than we thought it was going to. Like, this place is already completely devastated.
Yeah.
But he just seems like an incredible guy, because he's the one that notices that and then immediately gets caught in the mayhem. He's helping people evacuate from their homes and stuff there. He's putting people in his truck to make sure they get out. He starts this convoy to get people out as fast as possible. And you get such an intense scene with him as they get completely closed in by the fire. And so he ends up taking the civilians in that convoy out into the water in this big creek in hopes that the fire burns over them while they're in the water for safety. And it's just chaos, because he's constantly radioing in, like, you've got to do something about this fire. And they're like, they have these planes and choppers coming in, trying to drop water and flame retardants and stuff all on it. And because of the terrain and the wind, they can't get the right placement. It's futile. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And so they're just hanging in there. And it's really thanks to Elliot, who's MVP of this movie, maybe, on some of the stuff. That, and then, we have that little moment where the fire burns over them in the water, and then it's like, does he answer? And then he's like, we're still here, but we need help. And then That is what I was like. They never pick up there. I want to know what happened. So just like headcanon, I'm just assuming he got everyone out safe and everything's great.
I hope so. I mean, he was just telling people, no, don't bring that bag. Just get in the truck. We have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no time. This is not good. And neighbors were helping neighbors during this time, too, because one guy caught on fire and another guy is putting it out. Like, I was just like, this is what a community is. This is what community does. They take care of each other. They support each other. They save each other when they have to. They're there. It's important. I loved this guy. And I, again, too, wondered what the heck happened to him, because he was also the one that was telling them, no, this fire is going over the canyon. Like, it's going to paradise. It's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going there. Because they all didn't believe that it would. They had discounted paradise as being a location the fire was going to get to. They were looking at this other area. This is what's going to happen. And then he's like, no, it's moving fast. It's going over, I think it was a canyon. It's going to get there. This is what's happening. And he's on the ground. He sees it. He knows what's happening. Yeah. I really didn't think that he survived. Like, until he spoke on the radio, I'm like, you can't do this to me. He was so good. Like,
yeah. But then, even after he does respond, so, like, we know he's okay, like, from that at least immediate, like, burn over of the canyon. But it was like, but then what? Because there's still fire everywhere there. Like, what happened after that? And we'll never know. Yeah, as you said, I mean, the fire's definitely moving into paradise. And it's creating problems. The signals are down, so they can't get evacuation orders in time. So that's where we get Ponderosa Elementary, where Mary is a teacher here, Miss Mary. And then it's not just like her class. They were able to, the school kind of takes it in their own hands. They're like, we're not getting evac orders, but it's clearly getting bad out there. So they took it upon themselves to, we've got parents coming. They're picking up kids. We're sending kids out. But we have this group of kids here at the school, the 23 kids that don't have parents that can get them for whatever reason. They work out of town or just whatever reasons that their parents cannot come and get them from the school. And so they've got to figure out what to do with them. And that's where we meet Mary and get that side of it.
I just found out about what happened to Elliot Hopkins. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, read this thing later, but he lived.
That's good. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I don't have to worry about that.
He did live. And there's I have a whole thing to...
Stay tuned for that, because I bet that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to go look. I'm like, okay, I'm going to type it in as simply as this. What happened to Elliot Hopkins in The Lost Fire? Yeah. We need to know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm glad that the director decided to include that part of it in it. Mm-hmm. Because it showed a lot about community and about how one person can make a difference, too. Yeah. I liked that. I needed that in this movie.
Yeah. So so we have, the situation with the kids, and then when that gets back to Kevin, because, we have these 23. Yes, there were 22 on the bus, because little Alex gets pulled off right at the last second. Good for him. He didn't have to go through all of that.
Oh, man.
I mean, who knows what he still had to go through. Hopefully they were okay. But, at least he wasn't on the bus for all of that.
The log jam or the backed up traffic like that, that's come up in other movies for us. Like, we've talked about how that can change everything. And imagine maneuvering a bus through all of that.
Man, yeah. Yes, they need somebody to get these kids. And Kevin is the only empty bus that's anywhere nearby. And you see him just like, somebody else take it. Because at that point, he had already turned away from where he was supposed to go, back to base, to go be with his son, because he feels like he royally screwed up with Sean. So like I said, he's just ready to throw stuff away, because he's like, this is what's most important. And then that call comes in. We have these kids here, and he's like, he was like, somebody else do it, because if nobody else takes it, I have to, but I already have something that I have to do. But yeah, when it's nobody else is able to, and he's the only one. Because I did like the way there was like, is anybody out there who's still empty? And as they say that, like the camera angle changes from the back of the bus where you see not a single kid on that bus. And he's like, God damn it. That would be me. But he has to do it. Again, this is at that time, 23, little kids that are relying on him.
It reminded me of Independence Day when all hope is lost and he says, is there anybody out there that can come? And Russell comes in at the last second.
Yeah.
You knew that he was going to have to make this choice. And hearing everyone calling in saying, well, I'm doing this drop off, or, well, I'm empty and I could come back, but he's too far away. Kevin was where he needed to be able to do this. Because he was trying to go to his son. That's the only reason he was there. I don't know what they would have done.
Right.
Because it went so fast. Even if the one teacher had taken 4 kids in his car, the others would have died. There's no way. Mm. It was burning quickly.
Yeah. So it's good that he was there. And then I like that, his boss even has this. It's basically, if you help these kids that are in dire straits here, it's kind of wipes away any frustration that I have with you right now. He was just if you do this, you've done a good job. This is important, and I appreciate you taking that. And so when he shows up, he's in a hurry. He's been out there. He's been driving around all day and seeing how quickly this is moving. So he's in a hurry. Mary, again, America Ferrera, love her.
So good.
Not so much, but also it's because she's trying to keep things very calm and chill for the kids. She doesn't want them afraid or worried, which makes sense. You want them calm and orderly. Let's not have panicked elementary kids running around everything in place. But it's driving Kevin a little crazy because he's let's go. We've got to go. We don't have time for single file line. Everybody quiet. Hands in the air. Let's fucking go.
We have
we need to do. Yeah.
Because I think he was frustrated because he's been, like you said, he's seen everything. He knows how bad it is. And he doesn't understand how she doesn't understand that it's time to go. We need to go.
And then she wasn't even going to get on the bus. She was going to go to her son and have, lock up the school and then go, which if she would have stayed to lock up, the principal was there too. And we know the principal stayed by and we see her again in Chico. So maybe would have been fine. But I just love that he's no, you're also getting on here. He's when I get them to the school that they're supposed to be going to, I'm not babysitting.
No.
I've got shit I've got to do. So you're going to be there to, I need you to take care of them. It's not my job. You're the teacher. I'm not the one taking care of the kids when I get them where they're going. Yeah. I'm the bus driver. I'm going to drive the bus, drop them off, and then I'm going back to my son.
Yeah. That was the plan. The whole thing. And they push each other's buttons from the very beginning. And you don't know how they're possibly going to get through this situation because they just seemed like they were not going to get along at all.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin was incredibly resourceful and understanding of things. He knew things about the town because he used to live there.
Yeah.
But he also knew that they had a plan, but that plan might not work. He had to think outside the box and pivot because the fire was moving quickly, and it was not going to wait for them to look at a rule book or review a map.
Yeah. It's what he ends up saying to Mary is kind of also what the chief, I believe it was Chief Martinez says, or somebody says to him, but as the fire's coming in, it's we need to evacuate the whole town. Yeah, and then it's well, that's 26,000 people plus, because if you're counting Magalia and all these other places, it's it's already a madhouse, and it's about to get infinitely worse. So, we can't just evacuate everybody. And I had to write down, I love the line, he says, bust the system or play by the book and everybody dies.
Yep.
And that's kind of what Kevin says to Mary, where it's we need to go this route. This is standstill traffic. It's going to take us 30 minutes to get right down the road, at least. And she's well, that's the evacuation plan. We have to stick to the plan. And he kind of says the same thing. He's we can either do something different and I'll get them there quicker, or we can stick by the plan and the fire's going to catch us and we all die. So it's, I guess, which one do you want to do?
Yeah. He was being realistic. The fire was not just waiting for them to get where they needed to go and then, okay, yes, now everyone's gone, now we'll burn the town down. That is not how it works. at all.
Yeah.
This fire was insane.
Yeah. I mentioned the Chief Martinez, dealing with PG&E, the Pacific Gas and Electric, which is the culprit of this whole thing, turns out. Their faulty towers and stuff like that. But the PG&E rep that he's talking to and yelling at through a lot of this movie, played by Peter Dyseth, and I recognized him. It was one of those where I was like, he's familiar, I've seen him somewhere, and I have to look it up. And then when I did, I was like, oh, yeah. He played Bill in Better Call Saul, one of the attorney that Saul had kind of this rivalry with in earlier seasons and stuff. And it's like, I always love when it's these like random actors that I recognize from somewhere, but it's just enough where I have to look it up and go, oh yeah, that guy.
Like, I know I've seen you somewhere. Where have I seen you?
I've seen you be a shitheel somewhere else, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, they specifically with PG&E, the director didn't want to make this about PG&E. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to make it about the fault, even though, yes, it's their fault. He wanted the story to be the story and he wanted to present the negligence, but he didn't want it to be just about PG&E. He wanted to tell the story of this fire and what people and more, not about this is anti-PG&E and we're gonna run on that for the whole film. Yeah. Because there were other things they could have, jumped into that they didn't, like, dig deep. They alluded to things. They said certain things. Martinez said things in his speech a little bit about, climate. But he didn't,
Just like a small little thing. It's like, by the way, it's like, this keeps happening more and more often. So, like, we're idiots. We're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Just, a little food for thought.
Exactly. Like, he stuck those little things in there, but he didn't, like, hunker down on it. He just said it, moved on, because it was more to tell than just that. And so that's what he did. Like, it just wasn't, he didn't run down that road. He kept it contained. Better than they kept the fire contained.
Yeah.
Which
they really didn't.
They did everything they could do. I mean...
Yeah. Yeah, because as it just keeps getting worse, it takes down, like, all the comms. I mean, like, cell phones aren't working. The smoke and everything is blocked off. Just, like, radio signal, satellite signal. The radio... Just comms aren't working even just back and forth for anybody. I mean, the firefighters, that's the thing that's working against them. They don't know how far it's spread and where it's at because they can't even communicate with each other at a certain point. And then Ruby, back at the, headquarters, where we get the title of the movie, is like, okay, all of the other drop-offs have happened. All the other buses are where they need to be, except for the the lost bus, because we can't reach out to it. We don't know. And she's so frustrated that out of all of the drivers that she's having to worry about being the last one out in this situation with a bus full of kids, it just has to be Kevin McKay, doesn't it? Like, oh,
it
God.
Does.
Yeah.
And she does continue to try to reach him until the last possible moment. They have to leave. They stay at the bus barn till the last possible moment.
Yeah. And she's just trying. It's like, I don't know if this is going through, but you need to know this, so I'm hoping that you get it. Which he doesn't, but luckily Mary realizes, like, she knows, like, well, if this place is gone, then this is the next place. This is the evac place that they were going to go from here to. So let's just go to that, which is Chico. But yeah, Kevin's tired of sitting in standstill traffic. So as he's literally watching in the rear view, the fire growing closer, he's just like, fuck it. We're fast and furiousing this thing. Sit down and hold on to your butts, kids. We're swinging it. And yeah, of course, Mary's not super happy about that, and they're kind of arguing a little bit. But then, through the frustration and some heated discussion of getting these kids to safety, how to go about that, there is some great personal conversation that the two of them have that betters the mood a little bit. And I think it's, when he realizes how similar they are. They're both divorced parents of 15-year-old boys that both have grew up here in Paradise, have a lot of similarities, and so, like, they kind of start bonding a little bit better.
Yeah. Their conversation where they talk about Kevin mentions that he's always too late.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not on time. He's always late with things like his son and not being able to, like, just everything. Like, it's all, I'm trying to find my note. They have some really deep discussions.
Yeah.
One of them is about, you know, kind of where they're at with things personally. But then they also later have this conversation about, here's the bus, here we are. What if the fire gets close? What do we do?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a moment of desperation. But I like, you know, that he's honest with her about things, about where, you know, where he's at. He's not, this isn't what he thought his life would look like at 44. Like, it's not what he was thinking. And it was a lot.
Yeah. But you see him, like, really kick into gear and, like, show his capability. I mean, he gets shit done when he wants to, whenever it's important enough. I love this scene, yeah, where he hops out to start helping direct traffic out of the way and, like, he's like, I've got to get this fire engine through so that, more importantly, we can get this bus through all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, bravo to him, but then also to Mary as well for stepping up and driving the bus through. Once she realizes, she's like, okay, I'm going to have to start listening to this guy a little bit. He knows what he's doing, as insane as he seems. I think it's really, like, clicked to her. She's like, yeah, we can't just do things by the book or else this is never going to work. The traffic is not moving anywhere. We got to put these kids first before the rules, before what's expected.
Yeah, because the rules were not about the kids in the bus. It was about getting something else done. That was what the firefighters or the police were telling him. It's like, okay, you've got kids on a bus, but I've got this over here that we have to deal with. And that didn't sit well with Kevin.
No, so gonna just do what he's gonna do. Again, they didn't get the comms that Paradise Elementary is where they were headed. Was no longer the plan. Didn't get that information, so they get there, and it's not in the best shape. We can say. I did kind of laugh to myself a little bit when, you know, Mary's like, I'll go see if anybody's there. And I'm like, Mary, the school is fully on fire and there's not really any cars in the parking lot. Really? Really? You're going to go see if somebody's there? Clearly, this is not where you need to be.
Yeah. She had to try. I mean, all I could think is Kevin's having the worst day of his life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't get to his family. He is with a woman who is pushing him and frustrating him. He's got these kids. He felt like he had to do it. He had to save them. If he hadn't gone, I don't know what would have happened. I don't even want to think about it. But
I said his timing, you know, you were talking about him talking about, like, always being late, but it's like, in this instance, his timing put him exactly where he needed to be for them.
Yeah. That
nobody else would have been. So it worked out that, like, how it goes. And as I said, it's good that Mary is there to balance things out. Because although, like we talked about, you know, in real life, even like Kevin McKay he is a teacher and he's good with kids to a degree, but, like, he's also, Mary played another side of that was also very important. Because Kevin didn't seem like the calmly talk through things and hug a scared little girl kind of guy.
Not at all.
So, like, Mary is there for that, but he is good with this little boy, Toby.
Oh my
gosh. Because we see Toby as a no bullshit, matter of fact kid. And Kevin speaks that language. Because I love when Toby's really introduced as him just walking up and going, you don't know where our parents are, do you? You don't know what's going on. And you're, you know, and they're like, I love, he's like, yeah, you're right, but we're trying to do the best. And so he can, like, you know, cut through the bullshit, matter of fact, speak with this kid.
Yes.
While also being very positive and like, I'm gonna get you to your mom.
Yeah.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. He makes a promise. And he's not willing to give up. Like, there were some desperate moments. And he really was like, I think he kept her fighting. Because I think she had some desperate moments. And there's a moment, too, when they are on the bus and men are trying to break onto the bus.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's like it's very intense. I mean, all of the stuff you say, the power lines are going down. They have to go, through back roads and fences to get down, this other pathway just to another gridlocked road. And then there's this dipshit trying to hijack the bus. I was like, you're gonna steal a bus full of kids? The fire can have you.
Yeah, anytime, please. But honestly, we see that in other movies we've covered where society and people just devolve into survival of the fittest and me versus anything more than that. And this is another instance of that where, of course, there's going to be looting. Of course, there's going to be these things there's going to be these things that are going on that are scary beyond the fire. You'd think the fire is the scariest thing, and it is, but also people are also scary in this movie.
Yeah, and also just what's scary is, it's not just Kevin having to worry about himself and even like Mary, but she's an adult who's capable. You have 22 young, elementary age kids. So, I mean, 5 to 11.
Yeah.
That you have to deal with, and they aren't as resilient as you. Just their bodies, like the smoke and the heat is a bad situation for a lot of them. And so you also have time against you in that way, where you've really got to like take them into account and the care for them. So that's where they like take this shortcut through this camp.
That he remembers, being there.
Yeah. Mary pops out to try to find water, and it's just like, I mean, she has to do some looting herself. She breaks into like a trailer to get it.
Yeah, and she's a wreck trying to walk back to the bus because she sees a guy with a gun. I mean, that's how scary the situation was for her. The kids need water, and she goes to get it, and I give her props for that. For leaving him with the bus and going to get it herself and not like expecting him to get it or asking him to get it. I think she's very gutsy, and we got to see it play out in different ways. Well, she was
willing to, like, if things went really bad, she said, like, no, I'm going to do it. You're staying here because you're the one that drives the bus. And if the fire gets closer and I'm not back, you take these kids.
Yeah. Because she's very selfless. Like, she puts the kids first. And I think her personality and his personality, they're similar, but I also think that for a tag team, or how they like got it together to work together, it really was a good match, because once they got through all the disagreements and the arguing and all of that, she trusted him more, and he started to trust her too. I think they really, they talked about things, they shared in those conversations things that bonded them more and got them through this situation.
Yeah.
He taught her to drive a bus.
Yeah. The propane tanks here at the camp start blowing up, which creates a tough time getting out of the camp. I was like, I don't really want to use the term struggle bus right now, but like...
It's a struggle bus. I mean, it kind of is.
It fits. And... then we cut. There's like a hard cut. It's weird because we've gotten so used to the smoke and fire and everything's dark, and then it's just like, meanwhile in Chico, the sun's out and the sun is shining, birds are singing.
Yeah. And Ruby arrives.
This, like, safe zone there, and Ruby's having to fill the parents of the kids that are on 936 here about the situation, fill them in and let them know what's going on. And I like in her speech, she's like, Kevin McKay's the driver, and she's like, he's a new driver, and they're all like, ah, and she's like, no, hang on. But she goes, I trust him a lot to do this. And I was like, do you really, though? Like, fully trust him, as you say? But then I thought about it. I was like, I think so. Like, yeah, he's not good at the maintenance stuff and timing. But he's a good driver, and he cares. He's shown the care. Because that conversation where he's begging for the overtime stuff, because he's like, I've got my parents to think about, medical bills. I've got my son. I've got this. I've got that. Like, you can tell that he's driven. And he's got a good heart. And that's what she says. Like, he's a good person. He cares about your kids. He's going to do the best he can.
He has grit, Pake. Roll for grit. Let me just say that. He has a lot of grit. Yes. And that is very apparent throughout this movie. Like, we get to see it more and more as things continue, and especially near the end, where he just floors it.
So those are the parts of his job that are important right now, and she
Yeah.
knows he's good at that.
Yeah. And I think that even if she didn't 100% believe it, she had to make the parents believe it.
Yeah.
She had to make them believe that he was going to deliver the kids. Like, she had to do that.
Yeah. They get out of the camp, though. They're on Row Road. It's the last resort of the evac route. Highly treacherous. Not very conducive for driving a school bus on the cliff sides and stuff. And I know this is not a movie that I should make a lot of jokes in, but I would lose my mind if I don't, because that's how I work. So I had to have some. So just bear with me. So yeah, they're here, and I was really hoping that they didn't have Row Road roll their bus, because it would not be gently, and I don't think there's a stream. Merrily, barely, very scarily. Life is but a fucking nightmare right now for them.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. And proud of yourself, aren't you?
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, even when they get through like roll the bus. No, but they get down there, and then you're just like, okay, they're in a good spot. They've got this like last road. Let's get there. They're seeing other people who are evacuating. But no, not a single second of relief is allowed for us, the viewer, or for Kevin, Mary, and the kids. Because when they get them on row and they're headed in the right direction, you just immediately cut to the firefighters going, see this area on the map as they circle the exact place the bus is at? It's about to get hit real hard and we can't do anything about it. Good luck to anybody there. They're screwed. It's like, great, wonderful.
Yeah. That.
And then again, not to make light of it, but it is a movie and I need the levity, even if it's dark humor. So, Paradise Lost.
Bus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and you mentioned this scene as the conversation they have. It is just heart-wrenching. Truly, as they are fully surrounded by the fire, Kevin realizes that they have this plan. They think about taking the kids off the bus to go on foot, but immediately he goes out there and checks stuff out. And he's like, the smoke is too bad. And there's no way out. So they choose to stay on the bus, and really what it is just sit and wait. It's hope for the best, be ready to accept the worst.
Yeah. This is where you really, I think, see Mary's, like, desperation, because she's... Mm-hmm. You can tell everything's going through her head, and she's really just trying to focus on the kids. And, I mean, they were told by people coming from Neil Road, which is the road they needed to get to while on Row Road. The kids shouldn't see what's down there. It's really bad. That's why, one reason why they decided to stay. And it's just so tense as they sit there and wait to see what happens. And then you see the fire start to come. Yeah.
I mean, he's still trying his best. He doesn't give up.
No.
He uses his shirt. He's making smoke filters for the kids. He's closing off the vents.
He really did that. He really did the smoke filter.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And he goes out there with the frickin' fire extinguisher trying to put out the fire. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's fire. It's rough. Yeah, I was like, I don't know how well fire extinguisher and a jacket aren't gonna do the job.
No, definitely not.
And then we know the fire's so bad that the firefighters have given up on stopping it, and they've turned it into a rescue instead. Yeah. That's what their attention is at this point. So then, me not really knowing the true story of Kevin McKay, I hadn't learned about that. So then I'm just like, is this going to be like a, Deus Ex Machina, like somebody, finally a helicopter, somebody notices them and gets... But no, it's still kind of up to him. And I don't know, I was sitting there, I was like, I have to assume that the situation that they're in was unavoidable. But it's like, if they would have stayed course on the previous road with the traffic jam, would it have been better? Like, who's to say? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That fire was changing direction and burning and making it basically an inferno everywhere. So... yeah. You really couldn't... I mean, who knows? It
really,
was intense everywhere. I mean, you look at the firefighters and everything that they were trying to do and how frustrating it had to be that everything they were trying wasn't working, especially Martinez, who freaks out, or doesn't freak out. He very carefully tells the PG&E rep, do you know what's going on here? Shut the fucking power off. What the fuck is wrong with you? I've got firefighters in there, 30,000 people. Like, he's done because he had been told it was off and it wasn't off. And because it wasn't off, more fires were starting. And you get this all filled in with the kids screaming, like, it just, the way that it was woven together, I thought was really good.
Yeah. And I did like, again, you mentioned Mary as kind of this desperation. I mean, she has this very dark kind of thought. It was just like, maybe it's best if we let them all go to sleep. And then, and he was like, we can't think like that. We're not, that's not a route we're going with. And then whenever the fire is getting a little closer and they're, the windows are hot and everything's like, it's just getting really bad in there. And Mary's like, well, it's my job. I'm going to have to go and calm them down. And I really think that it was great for Kevin to like give her that moment to be like, you need a break. Let me handle it. And so I was like, maybe he's not as bad with the littles as I thought he would be, because the crisscross applesauce. I mean, he's doing what he can. It works really well. And then there's his conversation with Toby. And this is where I just, okay, oof. Here's the emotional stab. It was like, it's been intense, but that was the strike to the heart that got my eyes nice and wet a little bit. Man, is Toby looking at him and just saying, I want my daddy. And Kevin having this moment of just being like, I know you do. And he knows that you do. Because earlier this kid had mentioned that he doesn't see his dad. They don't have a relationship. Like, it's definitely a rocky situation of some kind.
Yeah.
And Kevin is seeing his relationship with his son Sean mirrored in Toby to some degree. And so as he's talking, like, well, your father knows and he's going to try to get to you and he loves you. And it's like him talking Toby through this about Toby's dad, who he doesn't know. He doesn't know the situation, but he's talking through his own pain in his own way right now. There's this mirror that is being held up with this kid. And so that just like really hit me emotionally. But then also just like looking at Toby, I was like, he reminds me a lot of like the kiddos that I volunteer with at the schools. Because, I mean, due to the nature of like what I do there, many of the kids that I work with have complicated or difficult home lives and different relationships with parents. So I'm looking at this like kid Toby being like, he would be one of my little buddies at school. Like, this is the exact age range that I work with.
Absolutely.
I was like, he would be one of my kids. And it's just like, oh, that scene, that moment.
This is when I said, he's so good with the kids. I think he should think about being a teacher. And so when I looked it up at the end and found out that he did go into teaching after this, I was so excited because I just thought he's got such a great way with them, and it would be something different that I think would challenge him that he would find very rewarding. And then all hell breaks loose after this, and the spot fires come, and the extinguisher to put them out, and all of that, and Kevin goes running and trying to look for, I don't even know, a way out is what he was doing. And he gets burned, and they come back, he comes back, and then the bus won't start.
Yeah. I'm not a vehicle person, so I don't know what the hell he did to make the bus start running again, but I'll blindly accept it.
Yep, me too. I will. I will as well.
I was with some of that conversation stuff that just make sure I had a couple other notes before we moved on. Again, the snark. Sorry, I have to a little bit. Is Mary being like, I've only left paradise once, so here's the 2 times that I did.
I know. I'm like, oh, you went away for a weekend to San Francisco and you went to a farm for 2 weeks, your friend's farm. Okay,
but it's funny the way she said, I only left once. This and this. It's like, well, that's not once. That's not how numbers work. You're a teacher. No, you should know that.
Exactly. And can we just say, we don't even know if any of these kids were in her class. Like, these are just kids. Like, they're not necessarily her class.
Like, I think some of them were her students.
Some of them, yes.
Not all of them, yeah.
Because the parents, when Ruby was talking to the parents, some of them registered her in their head. So they knew that she was on the bus. And knew that it was a familiar person, but...
Yeah, and then this is that conversation. This is the I'm always late conversation that you alluded to is at that moment. And I thought of it like a sins of the father thing, because he's talking about his relationship with Sean. And that's where we get that backstory. Like at 16, Kevin got into it with his dad, never talked to him again. And now he's back in paradise with a son almost that same age who's having that same contentious relationship. And he's terrified of the past repeating. He doesn't want to be like his dad. And so he starts feeling like these kids were supposed to be some kind of cosmic second chance to prove that he can be there for someone who wants him and needs him. And he's just feeling like a failure all around.
Well, he talks about coming back to see his dad before he dies because his mom talked him into coming, and he misses it. Like, he's too late. His dad has already passed by the time he gets there. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it is this whole cycle of I'm thinking that he's in his head thinking, I was going to put my son first, and this is where I am now.
Yeah, he was on his way to see his son, and then he chose these kids' lives instead.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly, any really good person should and would.
Yeah.
But then now he's in this place where he's just spiraling, because now he's unsure if any of these kids or his son will live through this.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I've screwed it all up. It's all my fault. He's just kind of like... But he doesn't sit in that for long. Mm-mm. He lets that wash over him, and then, as you said, when the fire gets too close and the kids start screaming again, he snaps back into the mode that he needs to be in.
Yeah, he goes out and he looks around. He's trying to figure out what to do. He gets burned. But Mary, before that, Mary comforts him. And then the fire breaks out and things go bananas. But she comforts him and tells him it's not too late. Which is great because she was starting to be really down about things. And he was trying to keep her positive. And so I feel like they kind of, at that point, came full circle of, okay, we butted heads at the beginning, but look at where we are now. We are trying to save these kids. We can't give up on them. That's when he runs out and looks around and is trying... I think he was just looking for a way out. Like, he was trying to figure out, where can we go? What can we do? And gets burned. The bus won't start. And he magically gets it to start.
Onboard fire extinguisher and a jacket can only do so much. But the bus starts again. I don't know how all that worked, but sure. Yeah. Like I said, blindly accept it and move on. But now that the fire is on them, he's snapped back in that mode. Like I said, he will not just sit and die with these kids. And so he's like, all right, we're going to go with the classic only way out is through method. How's that sound? And that's what they do. Could he have done that way earlier when it wasn't as big?
I wondered about that.
I mean, I really don't know if he could or not. I don't understand the ramifications necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I wasn't sure about that because I thought maybe if he'd just done that when it...
maybe it felt too risky.
Yeah.
And then it got to that point where it's like, okay, you either take the big risk where we probably die, or we don't, and we definitely die.
Right.
It's one or the other.
And that was the situation. I mean, it was desperation. They didn't have a choice. It was, okay, we either sit here and die, or go. And I'm going to just floor it.
Or we drive through, and we might die. We very much will. But at least we don't sit there and just definitely do. It's like, this is the last. So, I mean, I think he knew that was a last ditch. So I think that could answer that question. Is like, why didn't you just do that earlier? It's like, no, it was incredibly risky and dangerous. And he was really hoping for maybe this burns around them and they can outlast it and wait it out. But that was clearly not an option.
I was really worried about the tires catching on fire because we've seen that before. And I think going as fast as they were going, it was it was making that harder. Because it wasn't, I mean, he got it up to 55 and all I could think of was speed.
They make it out. And then we get that really great moment of them making it to Chico in this safe zone there. Kids are reuniting with their parents. I did have a little moment where I felt like a little lump in my throat and I was like, I swear to God, if Toby's dad walks in, I'm going to lose it and cry. And then I was like, okay, they saved me from that. That didn't happen. I was
okay. This is not a Hallmark movie. We're not going to have those Hallmark moments.
It's not going to happen. But I was ready for it. My emotionals, I've been emotion-wise, I've been very like tapped into feelings lately. I went and saw Hamnet the other night, and that one absolutely wrecked me in every best way possible. And then I'm watching Dimension 20 last night and crying at a whole emotional character beat. So like, I'm just very... Oscar season does that to me because there's a lot of really heavy documentaries and like movies dealing with like heavier subjects. And so, I mean, I'm already a big softie anyway, but this time of year with like taking in all of this media, I just become a blubbering emotional mess through a lot of stuff. So like...
Peg, there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
So this movie's catching me at a very emotional time where I'm taking in a lot of very heavy stuff and feeling it because I when I do the Oscar stuff is I'm like legitimately trying to really immerse myself in these stories and feel like what is the best writing, what has the best this, and like really feel those things and like a lot of the emotions and things in these movies. So I'm really susceptible and opening myself up to it right now.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. This one definitely was so tense and so emotional, I think, because I think when we're covering a movie that we know happened, even if some of it's like dramatized for a movie, the fact that people went through something, even a fraction of what we're seeing on the screen, is a lot. I mean, I tried to put myself in Mary's shoes or Kevin's shoes and what they were doing and decisions they were making. And I was just terrified thinking, my God, I mean, even honestly going back to Elliot and what he was dealing with, like that really floored me. Just the intensity, the fire, the trying to help each other, like seeing that. And it just made me think about the good people in the world. And it reminds me of Mr. Rogers always saying, look for the helpers, because that, you know, there are always people out there being kind and trying to help other people. And I feel like it's a good reminder. We really need that right now. For sure.
Yeah. And so it was a great, you know, the kids getting back to their parents. Kevin did well. He got them there. We get like, you know, the people kind of cheering for Mary and Kevin as they like come out. But he doesn't like sit and bask in this hero kind of moment. Like he is, I mean, Mary's son Jake is there waiting for her. But you see him immediately like seeing that and having that. He's like, okay, now number one priority again is my family, is my son. And he doesn't know how Sean is or where he is. And he goes and checks into like, there's like, you know, people checking in. So when other survivors are showing up, you can see if your family's there. His mom and his son are not checked in. So he doesn't know where they are. He's worried about that. He does end up finding his mother there. And she says Sean had already left with his mom. So I assume she canceled her Colorado trip and came and got Sean probably right after the last phone call that they had. So I was like, well, okay, well, at least he's safe.
But even the way his mom was talking to him about he's better off there, he's like the way she was talking to him, I just felt like, you know, he doesn't need to hear it that way from you. Really, that isn't helping the situation. He doesn't need people reminding him of his fuck ups right now.
Yeah. So I am glad that we did get that one more scene as he's like drives up and he's looking at the burnt remains and wreckage of his house, that his ex-wife and son do pull up and he gets that, you know, moment with his son. Gets to see him when he walks up to him and gives him a hug. And I was like, hopefully this is a brutal refresh of their relationship going forward. That like now that they've been through this, hopefully things can move in a very positive direction going forward between them. That they can start to heal. You know, out of the ashes comes new growth.
I think so. I think this whole experience for Kevin probably was like a, I don't know, like a metamorphosis for him, or not a metamorphosis. I think, I mean, maybe. I feel like he went through all of this, which, by the way, the whole thing in real life was 5 hours and 30 minutes. So it felt like forever while we were watching it.
Yeah. I mean, we get like the classic, you know, true story kind of words on the screen at the end of the movie that kind of fill you in. And then everybody lived happily ever after. But no, But their version, I mean, yeah, so PG&E was responsible with the faulty electric stuff. 85 deaths, 13,500 homes destroyed. There's billions of dollars they paid for it. And as we talked about the real life, Kevin McKay went on to become a teacher in Chico, where they ended up at the end of the movie. And I was like, that's honestly poetic and beautiful, and I love that for him. I even made sure to include a little note. It was like, Anne Mary traveled the world. She got her trips in. She started going and doing things. It's good.
She's still a teacher in Paradise, so she's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $25.5 billion compensation.
Man, yeah.
19,000 total structures destroyed. Crazy, if you think about it. Some of the things I did find out was that Kevin's family was actually evacuated that morning, so he was not dealing with that stress on the bus, but I can see why they did it the way that they did, because it added more tension.
It adds tension, and it also, it's a movie, so you have to have themes and arcs that, things that mean something. And so, as we talked about, is, you kind of have to, as this actual horrific thing is going on, it adds to the drama, it adds to the thematic elements of a movie to also have things in his life that he's having to manage that are burning down around him as well. I
mean, I felt like, honestly, the fire was a metaphor to his life, where everything was blowing up and burning down, and he's left in the wreckage, and that's kind of what this situation was when he was on the bus. And I am happy to read that he became a teacher after this, because I think he has a lot to offer. And I'm sure that this experience changed him. I mean, of course it would. One of the interesting things I found out was that Greengrass made the fire a character with its own point of view, like Jaws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was quoted in this Digital Spy article as saying, "I remember saying to my long-term editor, Goldenberg, this film needs the shark. We need to personify the fires like the shark in Jaws." And so he went on to say, "That's why I created those shots of the fire moving. So you felt its voracious appetite and then its insidious character at the end when they all get trapped." And that makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
really.
A lot of that visual effect work that's got to go into those shots, and they obviously did something, right? Got an Oscar nomination for it.
I know, I'm glad it did, because it led to us covering it, and I really like when we get to cover movies that are based on things that happen, because it always leads to a really interesting, detailed discussion. And we always end up talking about emotion. It's always about emotion. It's about feelings. It's about life experience. And so I always appreciate those conversations so much. And I think that might be all I have, except to something that I know is incredibly important to both of us.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Are you waiting to find out what happened?
I'm not going to let you forget.
Well, let's say this. Elliot Hopkins' story was not the longest part of this movie. It was just a piece of it. But I also connected with him like you did, and I just wanted more of that. So Spencer L. Watson, who played the part of Elliot Hopkins, got asked what happened to Hopkins. And this is what he posted on his Instagram account. It says, "The responses to the Lost Bus have been resoundingly positive, and many have rightfully wondered what happened to Elliot." See? They have. "The real Elliot Hopkins story is even more harrowing and inspiring than just what was portrayed in the film. Elliot narrowly escaped with his life while leading a large group of residents to safety, and then immediately went right back into the fray. He didn't get back home for over a week and wasn't able to speak with his wife for 3 days. He was later awarded California's highest award for heroism in the face of immediate danger, the Medal of Valor Gold, for his actions during the 2018 Camp Fire. all first responders take an oath to show up ready to face the worst. But in my experience, until the worst happens, there's always the nagging question of, but how well could I actually respond? Elliot is the prime example of what we should all look up to. And he talks about he was lucky enough to meet Elliot and his wife Allie after they saw the film, and they couldn't have been more kind. And then he said, strangely enough, we evacuated a hotel fire together. I'm honored to call them my friends. Elliot continues to work as a firefighter in the San Francisco Bay Area.
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, that's great to know. I love that because it's just one of those things that, like, he wasn't a major character in this movie, but because the real life Elliot Hopkins was such a major person who did incredible things, I love that they honored him by giving him a role in this movie, letting, you know, somebody portray his character even in a small little segment to make sure that what he did was noticed and noted and given respect and time.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if he's mentioned in the book.
I was wondering that too, if that's like another chapter's story of Elliot Hopkins or something.
I'm going to listen to the book. It doesn't look like it's super long, so I'm going to listen to the book and I will report back on that because I am interested in what other stories. I'm sure that they're not all happy. Like, that's the thing. Like, going into reading that book is going to be hard because of everything. Because I'm sure that it's not going to be... I'm sure that the stories are going to be heart-wrenching and sad, too. So, yep, that is... Yeah. So there's an answer.
Good. We can all rest easy now.
Knowing he's okay. Oh, goodness. Man, this was a good one. I am so glad it got nominated for an Oscar because then we ended up covering it, and I'm glad that I saw it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was great. Also, with watching this, I am officially done with my visual effects nominations. I've got to decide which one is actually my personal pick. I don't know. I might sit on it a little bit before just go. Because again, I could want to just be like, well, this, because it's fresh in my mind. But there's some good ones it's running up against. So if anyone's curious and doesn't know what it is running up against in the visual effects category, it is up against Avatar, Fire and Ash, more fire, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, which we will be covering next week, I believe, and Sinners.
Yes, Sinners.
So it is up against two other movies that we have covered or will cover on this podcast in this not this season, but I was gonna say this year, but even it's 2026 now. We covered Sinners in 25, so but relatively recently.
We covered Sinners back in, was it June? I think it was June,
something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one will definitely get some consideration when it comes to the end of year or end of season awards. It's going to be a tough decision, Pake. We've covered some great stuff this season. It's been really all over the place with regard to the different types of movies and the quality. It's going to be interesting when we come down to the RFYL Awards, which will also be our 250th episode. Remember back when Ben used to tease us when we would end our season at 25 and we would celebrate it? Well, this is season 10 and we're going to be ending it very soon.
Nope. Well, the comms aren't down here. We've got signal and we can get the feedback phone going, so it is ringing, so we'll have to see what people have to say. All right, we do have some feedback this week for this one, and I give you one guess. Who's coming through? As always, we have some feedback here from Catherine. Always appreciate you. She says, 10 minutes in, and I had to pause the movie to cry and hug my dog. Yeah. I broke again when Ruby said, you have to trust him. I trust him. and a final cry at the very end when I assumed the worst. At the exact midpoint, 1 hour and 4 minutes, Kevin claims they're 1 minute out, and I knew this poor bus was going to be in for so much more. The POV from the fire felt straight out of Evil Dead. Future double dip? I don't know. Possibly. Perhaps. We got a lot of things we can do. She goes on to say, for the past few months, I've been watching a couple of movies a week with my dad, and RFYL always comes through. I don't know why I said it that way. It's Riffle, Run for Your Lives, RFYL. There's so many ways you can say it. It's but RFYL, I'll stick with that. Always comes through when I need a suggestion. Recently, we've watched Pacific Rim and Volcano, so I think he'll enjoy The Lost Bus too. Oh, and we haven't watched the latest Jurassic Park yet, so if you cover that one for the Oscars, it'll give us an excuse to watch it sooner. Well, I got good news for you. Wait about exactly 2 weeks for that one.
Yeah. You can't think that we would not cover it for the Oscar nomination series that we do, considering that I am such a dinosaur nerd, and I can't believe we've waited this long to cover it. But yes, it's definitely on the list. Well, if you would like to submit feedback, like Catherine, we are on the Podcastica Discord server. We have our own channel, Run for Your Lives. You can find us there. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Run for Your Lives Podcast. Or you can email us, runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. You can go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links that you're ever going to need. And if you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We are available on all the podcast players, including Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more. If you feel so inclined, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that is the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, we do. And of course, speaking of sharing the love, you know I got to give a shout out to things going on in the Podcastica universe around us and beyond. A lot of great stuff for you to check out in the next week. Great podcasts for you to listen to. So, of course, over on The Cast of Us, Lucy and Jason continuing on The Walking Dead rewatch. So they are in Season 5 with Episode 15 this week as the latest episode. So definitely go check that out for the rewatch stuff over there with The Walking Dead. Then on Wax Episodic, Fallout Season 2 has wrapped. So you can get their coverage of that finale over there on Wax Episodic. Again, make sure to say the name of the podcast so you know where to go. I still haven't watched it. I'm like a week out, and I still haven't watched the finale. Because they did Night of the Seven Kingdoms a couple days early, and so I watched that at work with Riley instead, and then I just haven't... But Fallout was kind of our thing, so we'll probably watch that this week. And so we'll probably watch that tonight, is a week late, watch the Fallout finale together. I bet that's what's going to happen. But speaking of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, you can check out coverage of that over on Dragoncast. Wendy, Veronica, and Jason together with episode 4 this week. And man, what an episode, but also, it's the first episode of that show Riley has watched. He watched it with me, and both of us were very frustrated with the way that ended, because I was like, but I want the fight. I want the thing. So we'll get there. Again, no spoilers necessarily, but watch it. It's great. If you haven't watched that show, get on it. Even if you haven't watched Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, I still recommend you go watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Are you going to miss a lot? No. There might be a couple of little references that go over your head, but it's fine because it's still a great standalone show. Watch it. It's fun. And then check out Wendy, Veronica, and Jason on their coverage this week of the episode. Then over on They Did What? And you have to type it in exactly with that inflection. Or no, I'm kidding. But on They Did What? Kind of the true crime, documentary, things like that series that we have on Podcastica. Yes, we have that. Kelsey and Jen are discussing the HBO Max documentary Surviving Ohio State. Fun with a big question mark. But definitely, if you're a big like true crime and documentary person, then definitely check out their coverage of stuff over there. They did Alabama Solution, which is one of the nominees for best documentary for the Oscars this year, since we're doing Oscar stuff right now. So they know how to pick them. So definitely go check that one out over there. Then over on Yellow Jackets, WTF. That's right. Yellow Jackets is back? No. But they are covering stuff over there. Jason, Karen, and Wendy discussing the new film, Send Help. That's the new movie that's just out now with Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams. felt a little Yellow Jacketsy, without giving anything really away. But if you've seen the trailers and stuff, you know about the movie, then you know why. So they talking about that this week. So go check that out if you've seen the movie. Want to hear their thoughts on that? That is again on the Yellow Jackets WTF feed. And then for more fun rewatch stuff, always go check out our friends over at Still Slaying, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel cast, that Buffyverse over there, picking and choosing just kind of random different arcs and episodes and things from that are their favorites that they want to revisit and break down and deep dive into. This week you can check out their coverage of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 4, Episode 20, Blaze It. No, I don't know what the title's called, but that sounds right now. Go check out Episode 420 and have a good time with that. And then, as I say, beyond, because even outside of Podcastica, love to give some shout-outs to our friends on other networks near and dear to us as well. Of course, our friends over on Pirate Core Entertainment Podcast Network. Becky and Mandy just crushing it over on the What's On Tonight podcast, continuing their coverage of The Pit over on HBO Max. Season 2, Episode 4 this week. That show's getting a lot of acclaim, and I eventually need to watch it because everybody in every different walk of my life keeps telling me to watch it. So, like, I was at D&D this week and keep getting told, watch The Pit. So I guess I'm going to have to do that once I have any amount of free time. So we'll see when that happens.
Same. I'm still getting people saying that to me too. Becky's invited me to come on the podcast if I watch it. So I might have to make a point to like stat it and catch up. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's getting a lot of critical acclaim and fan acclaim at the same time, and those don't always go hand in hand.
If you're one of the people who's making good life decisions and watching The Pit, then definitely check out What's On Tonight and their coverage over there. And then on Panels to Pixels, again, and I mentioned this last week as well, but you can go and check out coverage of Wonder Man over there, the new Disney Plus Marvel series. Get coverage of that. And also our good friends over at TV Podcast Industries covering Wonder Man as well. So check that out. And, if you want more of me and Daphne, with our good friends Jeff and Jerry, you can check out the Buffalo podcast, where we're just being silly. We're just doing funs. That's about it.
You're terrorizing me is what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what you guys make a game out of it. It's no longer about, come listen to us play a game. It's, how crazy can we drive Daphne each week? And I feel like we're going to be adding one of those meters to, like, register how far it is. That's coming. Like, it's going to happen.
That'd be pretty great. We're trying to max that thing out. So, yeah, we're having a lot of fun over there, playing games, making each other laugh, or roll their eyes and groan and want to crawl away forever. Either way, it works.
Yeah.
Puns either make you laugh or hate everything about existence, and it's a spectrum, but on both ends, we're doing the job correctly if we're doing either one of those things. So that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So check out Buffalo if you want that. I don't know if that sells it very well, but go check it out.
It doesn't require any preparation. You don't have to watch a movie. You don't have to do any homework. Just come and listen and laugh, because that's what it's all about.
Like the Hokey Pokey. And after you've checked out all of that great stuff for this week to listen to, you can come back right here to Run for Your Lives next week as we are rounding out the rest of this season. Oscar season. Oscar time. As Catherine mentioned, and I talked back to her about that, yes, Jurassic World Rebirth in 2 weeks. But next week we do have something else a little different for you. Daphne, what are we doing next week?
Well, a world-famous girl group balances sold-out stadium tours with a secret double life as elite demon slayers, protecting their fans from supernatural forces hiding in plain sight. When a powerful new threat targets the music industry itself, the group must risk their fame and their bond to save both their city and the spotlight they have worked so hard to earn. It's Oscar season, and we are bringing you a family-friendly episode as we discuss Maggie Kang and Chris Applehand's 2025 film, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Ooh, listen in, and we might show you how it's done. I don't know. Could be a golden opportunity to listen to us talk about a fun movie.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly had a great time discussing it.
We felt pretty free.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Yep. We are bringing you a movie that has gotten a lot of attention over the last 8 months since it came out.
A lot of people really, really liking it. So I don't know if you've watched it and if you're paying attention to Oscar stuff, maybe you want it to win Best Song or Best Animated Feature. Maybe it will be your idol in those places. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How many more references can Pake subtly drop into the conversation?
I think I'm done after that one.
As always, when we cover an animated film that's more of a family-oriented picture, we are going to release it. There's no profanity. It's a family-friendly episode.
It'll be sweet as soda pop.
To. Yep. And to save you, now that we're at the end of this episode, and also to save you from any more of Pake's puns, drops, whatever he's doing, yeah, we've reached the end of the episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
That's not even a reference until next week, but I did it anyway.